hard today when he does get the ball, and he's going to take it for
over the court, give me your point.
From the Riverside Boat Club on the Charles River in Cambridge, this is Brookline High School Athletics on BATV. Today it's rowing action as the Warriors of Brookline will take on the Wolfpack of Boston Latin School and the Harbormen of Hingham. Hello everyone, I'm Brad Kasna. Thanks for joining us today. It's a beautiful day for rowing, although a stiff headwind will challenge these crews. The Warriors opening their season today, and the girls will take on the Wolfpack of Boston Latin for the first Salvo Cup on the line. And Hingham has both boys and girls crews here to compete against Brookline as well. So it's Brookline, Boston Latin, and Hingham set to take to the Charles River, and that's coming up next here on BATV.
We are underway with our first race of the day here on the Charles River. This is the boys' fourth varsity race between Brookline and Hingham. Brookline in the boat right now on the left of your screen. They'll be nearer to us as we move alongside the race here in the blue shirts. And then Hingham on the far side, the Cambridge side of the river, in the white shirts. The lineups in this four varsity race: Brookline's boat, coxed by Andrew Cornish, stroked by Sam Choi. Behind him, Alex Friedman, Dmitry Aristarkov, Martin Patsuris, Emmett Sutton, Noah Sangu, Jake Arnstein, and Sahar Amatai in the bow. Hingham's boat, coxed by Brian McGinn, stroked by Matt Personini. The seventh seat is Jack George, then Kyle Laterney, Mark Johnson, Ryan Parker, Chris Grant, Dylan Jones, and PJ Doherty in the bow. Teams look pretty much neck and neck. Brookline looks to have a slight advantage here as we come past the Riverside Boat Club. Strong headwind today on the Charles that these crews will have to face. It's the first race of the season for all of these teams here today. So first time out on the water. As you see, Brookline about a half a boat lead. As we approach the first of two bridges these teams must negotiate. And Brookline again holding about a half a boat, now extending that lead a little bit, as Brookline's cox is about even with Hingham's bow. Headed towards the first bridge. Brookline will go through the center arch and Hingham through the right-hand arch. Brookline under the bridge, looking to open up about a full boat length lead. Other than the wind today though, a beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. Temperatures about the high 40s. Brookline holding on to about a full boat length lead in the four varsity race. approaching the second bridge. This is the Western Avenue Bridge about to come under here. Brookline opening up some open water as they continue to pull away in this race. So down into the home stretch. Looks like Hingham gaining back a little bit of ground, but Brookline still a comfortable lead. So we move ahead of the action a little bit. Get in position at the finish line. Brookline holding on. Coming down the home stretch. Still open water between Brookline and Hingham. And Brookline going to cruise in, winning this fourth varsity race. Flag is down, and the Warriors take this one. Harbormen now crossing the finish line. So the Warriors of Brookline win the fourth varsity boys race. Our first race of the day, our first race of the season for the Warriors here on the Charles River.
All right, both varsity ready. All hands are down. Brookline. Hingham. Attention. Go!
We are underway in the third varsity boys race here today. We're hoping that the third time is a charm here, as this is the third attempt at starting this third varsity race. The first two ended in collisions in pretty short order, but it looks like we're good here as we watch these two crews begin to go. It's Brookline right now on your right. They will be on the far side once we get alongside. Brookline on the Cambridge side, and Hingham nearest to us. Hingham with the red oar blades, Brookline the blue and red. And Brookline off to a strong early lead. Lineups in these boats for the Brookline Warriors. Liam Higgins is the coxswain. Ben Grustra stroking. Tevin Kim, Aaron Segi, Nikita Budnick, Sam Klebanoff, Dan Stevens, Noah Krawitz, and Alex Lapidus in the Brookline boat, which already has about a boat length lead of open water, passing the Riverside Boat Club. The crew for the Hingham Harbormen has Mia Smith as the coxswain, Stephen Kirk the stroke, then Jackson Perkins, Wilson Brown, John O'Connell, Colin Bannon, Jake Salvucci, Tom Riley, and Perry McCarthy. As we're alongside the Hingham boat here, is Brookline really leaving them in the dust. Warriors got off to a huge lead. Hingham looked was a little bit off course to get this started, and that may have cost them right from the start. As we mentioned, twice before we tried to start this race, but had a collision on this windy day on the Charles River. But now we are off and running. And Brookline way in front. Brookline approaching the first bridge, the River Street Bridge. Brookline under the bridge with a huge lead on Hingham. Should mention in the first race of the day, the boys' fourth varsity race, Brookline won that race. The final time, Brookline completing the course in 5:53, Hingham in 6:02. And Brookline well on their way to winning this third varsity race as well, with the Warriors way out in front. Hingham now under the River Street Bridge. Brookline still well clear of this Harborman crew. Brookline nearing the second bridge, the Western Avenue Bridge. Moving under the bridge. Tons of open water between them and Hingham. Hingham between the two bridges. As we'll move up to catch up with the Warriors. The wind does die down significantly after this second bridge. So a little bit calmer water down the home stretch today for these crews. Hingham now clearing the Western Avenue Bridge. But Brookline well in front. As Brookline is approaching the finish line now. Final few strokes for the Warriors out in front. And across the finish line is Brookline. Warriors capturing the third varsity race. Hingham coming down the home stretch now, looking to finish strong. And there's Hingham across the line. So, an impressive performance from the Warriors' third varsity as they take this race over the Hingham Harbormen.
All hands are down. Brookline. Hingham. This is the start. Attention. Go!
Second varsity boys race underway. Brookline and Hingham once again. Hingham on the Boston side in the mostly white shirts, white and red shirts for Hingham, and Brookline in the blue shirts on the Cambridge side, the far side, as we alongside. Behind the two boats right now as we try to steer the Hingham crew back away from Brookline. We have seen a couple of collisions already today on the river, so it's a windy day, first race of the season for all these crews, so tricky Charles River as well. You've got the bridges to deal with, so trying to keep these boats apart. They are now, they are just about neck and neck. Coming down, approaching the Riverside Boat Club. The lineups in the second varsity race for Brookline. Coxswain is Yorgos Karaminas. And in the boat is Jonathan Lindstrom-Botrid, Eli Scheiber, Aviv Preminger, Matt Rosenberg, J.V. Quelho, Ivan Larionka, Jalen Chow, and Mike Nikulin. Still tight, looks like Brookline may have a slight lead here. Warriors have won the first two boys races of the day. That third varsity race that we just showed you was a 45-second margin that the Warriors took that one. Hingham's boat. Coxswain is Avery Semgen. Stroke is Alex Dupy. Then Robert Smith, Jack Sedian, Cam Burek, Martin Nordzai, Alex Morrison, Jack Kaplan, and Matt West in the bow. Brookline about a 1 or 2 seat lead as we come under the first bridge, but Hingham actually looking to maybe close that gap right here. We'll see what happens when we emerge from the bridge. And Brookline maybe holding on to a slight lead here. Perhaps the closest race we've seen so far. Well, it looks like Brookline does have a slight lead as we approach the Western Avenue Bridge. Brookline will head through the Cambridge Arch, Hingham through the Center Arch. Brookline, again, looking like they have a very slight lead. Get a better look from the side here. And it is nearly neck and neck. Looks like maybe a slight lead for Brookline that they may be opening up a little bit now. Brookline now as they come down the home stretch looking to hold off the Harbormen. Looks like Brookline has about a boat length lead. Maybe a little bit tighter than that. Hingham coming on strong at the end here. And it looks like Brookline just edged out for the win there. To make it 3 for 3 on the Charles so far. And we're underway with the girls' first varsity race. A three-way race here, as we have on the near side, the Boston side is Brookline with the blue and red blades. In the center is Boston Latin School in the white boat with the purple and white checkered blades. And on the Cambridge side, the far side from our view, in the red boat and the red blades is the Hingham Harbormen. So our first varsity race for the girls. We should mention the final from the second varsity boys race, which you just saw. That was Brookline that came away with the win by a half a second. 5:03 the Warriors time to the Harbormen time of 5:04. So best race of the day we've seen so far was that boys' second varsity race. But now the girls' first varsity has Hingham out to an early lead, Brookline in second, and Boston Latin in third. The lineups for these boats: for Brookline, Camille Newsom is the coxswain, stroked by Audrey Delgarno. Allison Bell, Gabby Guttormson, Meredith Outerson, Sophia Rintel, Catherine Allen, Marie Clark, and Lisa Lung making up the Brookline crew. The Hingham girls, who are out to the lead here as we come by the Riverside Boat Club. Amanda Durkin, the coxswain, stroked by Eliza Daniels, Sadie McGarre, Lily Snow, Emma Whalen, Paige Hoffman, Lindsay Aborn, Zuzu Human Lochfeld, and Emma Neat filling out that crew. And for Boston Latin, it's Diana Howard, the coxswain, Hannah Devlin, the stroke, then Julia Borges, Althea Berg, Tori Cahill, Morgan Spalding, Samantha Gartner, Michelle Ing, and Asma Aitnori in the bow seat. So Hingham still maintaining about a boat length's lead on Brookline, with Boston Latin falling behind by open water. So we're coming up on the first of the two bridges on this Charles River course. Hingham will be first under the River Street Bridge, but Brookline not too far behind. Boston Latin has fallen off the pace, as there's several boat lengths of open water back, but tight up front between Hingham and Brookline. We saw in that last boys race, Brookline had about a full boat length lead, but Hingham came charging back to get within a half second of the finish line. So plenty of time to make a move at the end of this course. We mentioned as well, there is a solid headwind going up the river today, although it has died down a little bit from the earlier races. But after the second bridge, it really calms down. Sprint to the finish. Hingham still maintaining this lead. Looks like they may have a little bit of open water between boats here. As Hingham hits the Western Avenue Bridge. Prime vantage point for spectators today. And now Brookline under the bridge. Hingham's lead about the width of this bridge, which is about the width of a boat, so about a boat length of open water, separating Hingham and Brookline. Boston Latin just now getting under the last bridge, but Hingham out in front. Looks like they may be opening up a bit more open water as they move towards the finish line. Brookline in second. It's Brookline and Boston Latin that are competing for the first Salvo Cup today. So even though Brookline is not going to win this race, beating Boston Latin to help them earn that first Salvo Cup. Hingham, final few strokes to the finish line, and Hingham crosses first. Hingham wins this first varsity race. Brookline is going to finish second. As the Warriors now cross the line, ahead of Boston Latin. It's the Wolfpack still making their way up to the finish line. So it's Hingham that takes this girls' first varsity race, Brookline in second, and Boston Latin will finish third. And the Wolfpack now across the finish line to conclude this first varsity race for the girls.
Hingham, Brookline, this is the start. Attention, go!
Underway with the final race of the afternoon, the boys' first varsity race between Brookline and Hingham. He's going to look at Hingham off the start. We'll come up alongside Brookline shortly. It's Hingham on the Cambridge side, which will be the far side in the white shirts, and Brookline rowing on the Boston side wearing blue shirts. The lineups for these boats. Let's get a look at Hingham's crew. Struck by Emily Arcisi. I'm sorry, coxed by Emily Arcisi, struck by Kyle McKegg, then Charles Chittick, Stephen Townsend, Ryan Beretti, Austin Laterney, Brendan Green, Stephen Dings, and Joe Johnson in the Hingham crew. Slight lead here. Brookline is coxed by Max Condon, stroked by Adam Rintel, and Cam Chasen, Jack Rusk, Jacob Anmayan, Jordy Cabanas, Josh Bilchick, Julian Mahler, and Phil Ross, making up the Warriors' first varsity crew. Looks as though Hingham has a slight lead here. We're still behind the crew, so a bit tough to tell. The Warriors have won each of the first 3 boys races here. This first varsity crew looked to make it a clean sweep, but have a stiff opponent here in Hingham. Hingham looks like they have about a 1-seat lead. So come under the Western Avenue, the River Street Bridge rather. First of the two bridges on this course. And converging, it's maybe up to about a half a boat length. Although Brookline now coming back. Now it looks like the Warriors have it about even, maybe even up in the lead a little bit. Big push by the Warriors there. Warriors maybe with about a couple seat lead now. Headed towards the Western Avenue Bridge. Warriors increasing their lead. Almost a full boat length now. And it looks like the Warriors a full boat length lead headed under the Western Avenue Bridge. See what it looks like when we come out. Still that full boat length lead for the Warriors. Hingham gaining a little bit back as we hit the calmer water down this final stretch. But Brookline still maintaining a strong lead and now pulling back out in front a little bit, opening up a bit of open water. Now nearly a half a boat length of open water, maybe even more for Brookline as they come down the home stretch. 5 more strokes for the Warriors. Finish line in sight. You can see the red flag on the shore. And there it is, the Warriors take this first varsity race. Hingham now across the line, but Brookline wins it in the boys' first varsity race. A great start to the season for the Warriors on the Charles River today. On the boys' side, it was a clean sweep as Brookline won all 4 races against Hingham. And on the girls' side, the Warriors captured the first Salvo Cup, beating Boston Latin in both races that they competed in. Hingham actually won the both of the girls' races, but they're not part of the first Salvo Cup. Warriors with their second place finish in those races, good enough to capture the cup. So we want to thank our BATV producer, Charles Henneberry, as well as our skipper today out on the launch, Katie Rudeman, the head coach of the Warrior boys. So that'll start the season for the Warriors here on the Charles River. I'm Brad Kasnett saying so long from Cambridge.